One of the core principles of our American judicial system is the presumption of innocence. See, what do we do? Why should they be locked up in jail? Why should they lose their liberty before a jury has made a determination as to whether or not they're guilty or not?
It's past time to begin repairing the disproportionate harm that's been done to Black communities by the criminal justice system.
With members of the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus standing behind him, Governor Pritzker signs into law a sweeping criminal justice reform bill, cracking down on police abuses and ending cash bail.
But some critics say the bill is essentially a get-out-of-jail-free card for criminals.
Dane Placco has the story.
All Illinoisans will live in a safer and more just state with this law on the books.
Governor Pritzker signed the 700-page bill into law despite fierce opposition from Republicans and police. The bill creates a statewide certification program for police officers, requires new training on crisis intervention and de-escalation, bans all police chokeholds, changes the language on use of deadly force, and requires every officer in the state to wear a body camera by 2025.
All of this was fueled by the experiences of those who have lived with police brutality and discrimination.
And a big change.
It is about time that we abolish the cash bail system.
Just released Chicago crime statistics show murders in January hit a 4-year high, and the skyrocketing number of carjackings was the focus of a high-powered meeting tonight.
The most serious crimes went up from last year, and if carjackings continue at the pace we're seeing them right now, we could shatter last year's record. Tonight, the Chicago area's top cops and prosecutors met on a video call to talk about carjackings. A Chicago police deputy superintendent says the thieves that have caused so much damage and fear are often remarkably young.
Young as 12, all the way up to 25, but the median group is between 15 and 20 years old.
State's Attorney Kim Fox says her office must deal with juvenile and adult offenders differently.
If you've got a 12-year-old or 11-year-old or 14-year-old who's out there engaging in this behavior, there is something wrong.
She says she brings charges in 90% of adult carjacking cases and 80% of juvenile cases, but it's up to a judge to handle proper punishment for young people. Carjackers have been busy lately. In 2020, Chicago had more than 1,400, more than double 2019's number and the highest since 2001. This year, we're on pace for 1,800. The virtual roundtable came on the same night Chicago released new statistics on crime in January. There were 201 shootings in January, the most since 2017. And 51 people were killed in Chicago in the month, up from 37 the year before, and also a 4-year high.
In Yale reports, residents are calling for Chicago police to put an end to it.
Imagine trying to drive home and you're met with this, a large group of people along with women twerking on a police squad car.
I went around the crowd and I went home.
Mindy Beiser has called the Near West neighborhood home for the past 3 years. She says she's seen this here at Oakley and Washington a couple of times, most recently this past Saturday.
Last night in the Gold Coast.
And someone just passes out from the side and says, like, what do you have? And I was thinking, oh, like, someone just wants money. That's normal here in Chicago, right? And then I noticed the second person and I thought, damn.
With their knife in my face.
Police say the thieves used a baseball bat to break Ariana's window as they ordered her out of the car.
Please let me take my baby. I was saying that over and over again.
134 expressway shootings in Cook County just this year, more than all of 2020. We ran the numbers and found many of those shootings happened between 9 and 11 at night. But the latest? Early in the morning, here on the Dan Ryan near 37th Street, Wednesday.
I knew that there were gunshots right away.
William Byrd narrowly escaped those shots, behind the wheel just feet away. From what we now know was the 43rd shooting on the Dan Ryan, making it the most dangerous expressway when it comes to these shootings. We marked every shooting and found these are the 5 worst areas, with a number of shootings at each. 47th Street, 95th, 87th, 75th, and 63rd. The second most dangerous, the Eisenhower. We mapped out 29 shootings on the Ike, with all but 4 of them east of First Avenue. Central and Laramie are the worst, with 3 shootings each.
Springfield police arrested 8 individuals last week on weapon offenses, and 4 of them were released without bail, and the city wants to change that.
Look at this visual. Look at it.
A slap on the wrist. That's what Springfield Mayor Sarno says repeat illegal gun offenders are getting in the court system after being arrested, and he's tired of it.
I need you to rally for what is right about taking these violent criminal repeat offenders off our streets.
Since March 17th, police have made 44 arrests involving firearms. 22 of those arrested were released on bail or their own recognizance. Mayor Sarno says Judge William Rhoda is being too soft on offenders.
I am sure that Judge Rhoda would not like to have these individuals moving around his neighborhood area out in the Berkshires.
Springfield Police Commissioner Cheryl Clapprood says the illegal guns are a hazard to her officers as well.
It's dangerous for my officers every time they make a stop, every time they make a vehicle stop, every time they go into a house. Eventually, luck is going to run out for us.
Mayor Sarno said he supports legislation that would toughen the process for repeat offenders to be released back into the public, but the mayor said the bill is stuck in committee.
Chicago's top cop says 59 gun shell casings were found after the shooting of a rapper right outside the Cook County Jail.
Superintendent Brown using this case and that situation as a reason to push for keeping violent offenders in jail. Elizabeth Matthews is live at CPD headquarters with more. Elizabeth?
Sally and Anthony, the superintendent, showing his shock and dismay that this violent repeat offender was let out of jail this weekend. The 31-year-old did have to post bond, and as a condition of posting that bond was going to have to be on electronic monitoring, but Superintendent David Brown says that is simply not enough. Leandre Sylvester was released from jail Saturday night and was targeted, fatally shot right outside the Cook County Jail. Police say there were 59 shell casings on scene. 2 women were also wounded, though not seriously. The Chicago rapper was released after posting a $5,000 bond with a condition that he would be on electronic monitoring yet again. He was in jail for violating his bond following several weapons, assault, and habitual criminal charges.
All these prior arrests, these serious felonies, these very violent crimes didn't keep him in jail. And it created an unsafe environment for others to put him on electronic monitoring.
A Southside alderwoman today rejecting Mayor Lori Lightfoot's claim that 99% of her critics are motivated by racism or sexism.
The mayor said she's being judged in ways her 2 previous white male predecessors were not. Our political editor, Mike Flannery, is here now with more on this. Mike.
Well, Sally, the mayor told Channel 11's Chicago Tonight broadcast that virtually all of the criticism she faces comes because she's a black woman.
About 99% of it.
Expand on that.
Well, I mean, look at my predecessors. Did people say that Rich Daley held tea sessions with people that he didn't disagree on? Rahm Emanuel was a polite guy who was a uniter? No. Women and people of color are always held to a different standard.
Agreements like this one last week that was captured by reporters at City Hall with the mayor called the mayor's claim a, quote, cop-out.
We need to warn you here that some of this video in this story you may find disturbing. 6 Buffalo police officers are now recovering from minor injuries after a late Monday night chase. The 16-year-old driver involved here already had 3 prior arrests in the last 3 months for stealing vehicles. 7 Eyewitness News senior reporter Eileen Buckley is on the story for us right now.
Part of the incident involving the 16-year-old driver and Buffalo police was captured on this surveillance video. Fortunately, the lieutenant hit by the car door, Nicole Santiago, was not seriously hurt, and police arrested the driver. But the Buffalo Police Union posted this tweet saying the teen behind the wheel had 3 prior arrests in the last 3 months for stolen vehicles. The tweet also states this is further evidence of the failure of bail reform and the danger it poses to our officers and to the public.
Chicago police make progress tracking carjackers, but the numbers show that we still have twice the number of crimes compared to last year.
And it seems the criminals are just becoming more emboldened.
Tia Ewing is live with the latest on the crackdown. Tia.
Well, yeah, this is a serious issue. 5 carjackings in 24 hours between Saturday and Sunday. One of those carjackings took place right here in the 100 block of West North Boulevard in the Gold Coast. And witnesses say in many of the crimes, the suspects were teenagers.
We're hijacked with both of them are armed, one with a pistol, one with a long gun. So everyone be careful.
This 2017 blue Kia Forte was taken near 103rd and Kedzie Sunday morning in Mount Greenwood, where one of the armed carjackers fired a gun.
You had multiple offenders brandishing guns, and in the first incident, they shot that gun. Luckily, nobody was injured, but this could have been another tragedy.
An hour later, the same crew targeted a rideshare driver. They took this black Ford Expedition in the 102nd block of South Oakley Avenue, 10 blocks and 5 minutes apart from one another. Saturday in downtown, 2 SUVs were taken. The victims were bumped from behind. When they got out, they were carjacked.
Over the last year, well, we've seen some disturbing trends involving minors. Just this week, a 13-year-old arrested in a carjacking case.
Also, juvenile murder cases are an increasing issue for police as well.
2020, the number of minors arrested for first-degree murder was up significantly. In 2 of the cases, the alleged shooters were as young as 13.
So this is new video just into our newsroom. You can hear the gunfire, police telling us they found 60 shell casings at the scene. And if you look closely at that video, you can see a group of people, including several young children, standing outside talking when that gunfire erupts. Those people run for cover using a parked car as a shield. Now, this all happening right around 6:30 last night on 79th and Carpenter. Police say a black vehicle heading west started firing toward a group standing outside. That group attending the funeral, returning fire, hitting that black vehicle. Police say the vehicle with the shooters inside crashed into a parked car, and the 4 people bailed. Now, in the shooting, in the end, there were 15 victims, all survivors, taken to 5 different hospitals, 5 now in serious condition. And we know police must have gotten some sort of heads up that something might take place at this funeral, since commanders tell us one of their squads was stationed right outside when bullets started flying.
Corrine, this 1-month-old baby who turns 2 months old on Saturday is lucky to be alive. She was shot in the head earlier this month in Inglewood. Today we sat down with her mom and learned that 7 years ago she was also shot in Inglewood. She tells us her family is now done with this city.
I'm getting up out of here today. I got to leave Chicago. I love the city, but I can't stay here anymore.
Taisha Banks says her daughter, Tariana, continues to recover like a champ, or blurring her face to protect her identity as the victim of a crime. At just 4 weeks old, she was shot in the head while in a car seat near 66th and Halstead. That shooting was caught on surveillance video, shows 3 men getting out of a black Jeep and firing in all different directions. Tariana, along with 6 adults, were wounded. The bullet, which is still in Tariana's head, broke her skull but did not puncture her brain.
We won't ignore what our intelligence agencies have determined to be the most lethal terrorist threat to the homeland today. White supremacy is terror.